Good morning. A very impromptu live today. I'm in mom mode today, so I've got like hair that still needs to be dyed and I'm kind of a hot mess, but that's life. Like, what are you gonna do? I had a bunch of plans today. I was supposed to go drive out to Williamsville. That didn't happen. My car needs work. So I'm super excited about adulting. Yeah, I gotta drop a couple grand on my car, so yay! Who's paying off debt this year? Not me. But yeah, I just had my bi-weekly session with my therapist today. So let me make sure I'm still on the actual internet here. Yes, okay. Which we talked a lot about the topic that I've been wanting to come online and do a live for. So I was like, I've been talking about this for the last hour, so I might as well pop on and just share my thoughts about it. Before I get started, I'm gonna open a drink because I am thirsty and kind of hungry. I think I've posted some videos about it before for you guys. I'm not much of a coffee drinker. If I do drink coffee, I usually drink cold brew coffee because the acidity level is better. The fun thing, I had mentioned this, oh wow, I haven't talked to anybody on here in a long time, so I'll have to catch you guys up. But what's the last time I talked to you guys? November? October? Yeah. My kid, who's 5 years old, is in kindergarten. We've been sick like 4 times in the last few months. For anybody who doesn't have kids, if anyone hasn't told you this yet, when your child goes to school, you're gonna be sick for like 6 months. Like, that's just one after the other. So I know a lot of people have been sick in general, but the schools, it's just, there's so many, they're like packed in their like little sardines, shared all those germs, like shaking hands and touching stuff. So that's made coming on and doing lives hard. I did physical therapy. Did I tell you guys about that? Because I was having problems with my sciatic nerve. So one of the things, I have like 4 different specialists I have to follow up with right now, which is fatiguing. This actually ties into the conversation that I wanted to have today, but when I went through my physical therapy, one of the things my physical therapist commented on was my range of motion. So you go in there and they basically like measure your range of motion in all these different places of your body. And it's funny because this is not the first time, because I've done, I used to do yoga when I was younger. I've posted a few pictures, and I haven't done a lot in a while because I got into a car accident back in like 08, 09, I want to say 2009. I was driving home from work and I was stopped at a red light at about 2 in the morning, and a drunk driver hit me from behind. And sorry if you're on my Facebook stream, for some reason it keeps saying slow connection. I don't really know what the problem is because I'm on the internet. But yeah, so in 2009 I got hit by a drunk driver about 2 in the morning. He must have been leaving the bar. I was literally stopped at a red light. I posted this picture recently because I think it was Thanksgiving I posted it, because we all know that's like the biggest drinking holiday of the year. Yeah, this guy just slammed right into me driving his Ford Edge, and I'm in like a little Saturn like S2 or SL2, whatever they're called, and the trunk was literally in the back seat. So luckily all I did was I broke my wrist, but that definitely like set me back in terms of yoga. They didn't even know initially that I broke my wrist. I felt like I broke my wrist, but when they did an x-ray on it, they were like, we don't see anything. So I was waitressing at the time, and I remember like, you know, holding my trays and just feeling this awful feeling in my wrist. And about 2 weeks later, I went back to my doctor again, like, no, this still hurts. And they did another x-ray, and they were like, oh yeah, you have a hairline fracture of the ulna, which is like this bone, technically, it's not really the wrist, it's the little bone in your arm that's back here that goes all the way from your wrist to your elbow. So I had a cast. It's funny because the only time I've ever been in a wedding, I was in one of my best friend's weddings. I was a maid, you know, one of her bridesmaids, and I had a cast from my wrist to my elbow. That was really fun. But yeah, back when I would do yoga, my yoga teachers would always be kind of like trying to like show me how to get more out of my stretches and my workout, because they're like, oh, like you seem like you're really flexible. Like a lot of people can't go that deep in their stretches. And I had people comment about it when I was younger, make comments about things, like weird ways I could like move my elbows and stuff, and like I can like put my hands behind my back and like the prayer, you know, thing behind my back. It's easy, it's not hard. I don't have like the thumb that can go all the way down to the wrist like some people have, but it's definitely over the years I've been just noticing different weird things about my body. So when I went through physical therapy, they, you know, she's testing me and she'd be like, all right, you know, you can stop like whatever movement I was doing. You don't have to go that far. But it's like, be interesting to see how far I really can go with stuff. I don't know if that's healthy, but just for the purpose, because, you know, I was reading about hypermobility, and I've seen a lot of videos, people that I follow online that are neurodivergent, people that, you know, are on that spectrum, that it can be more common. And also with my kid being in school, we've been going through a whole evaluation thing. So I posted a video like a month ago where I made that chili, and I posted the one video, like the unedited sound, and like I'm cooking, and this is normal for me. I don't know how, you know, other people's families are. Kids can be really wild, but my kid is interesting. So in the background of the video, she's like, sounds like she's like yelling or making a crazy sound, but like really she's like howling in the video. She's like like a dog, and it's, you know, being aware of neurodivergence, conscious of it. Like I don't really try to like tell my kid to stop doing things that I feel like she's getting enjoyment out of. When she was a few years younger, we used to go out in public and go to stores, and she'd be like wanting to be puppy at the store, you know? And my limit with her was, I was like, you got to get up off the floor and not be where someone's going to fall, trip over you, or hurt themselves. But, you know, if my kid could have it her way, she'd be walking around the floor pretending to be a doggy because she loves dogs and it's great for her. But I don't know if neurotypical kids do this. When we did some evaluations for my daughter with school, they ask you a lot of questions that are, in my opinion, they're kind of subjective. So I've heard other people comment on this about assessments for autism and stuff. Like someone posted a video recently that said like they went to therapy, and their therapist, for the first few sessions, they ask you a lot of questions and they go through all this stuff. And one of the questions was, have you ever thought about harming someone? And this woman who is diagnosed autistic, she said, well, like, yeah, like, I mean, because sometimes we have those thoughts, like, you're like, oh, like that person, you know, was rude to me in traffic, like they cut me off, like, oh, I just want to like get them in the face, you know, but it's like, you just think it, you're not really going to do it, you know? So I say the question is subjective because it's like, it's not specific. They're not asking this woman like how they want to hurt someone. It's like, do you want to go out and off somebody? No one said that. But you weren't specific in the question, so I answered it. Yeah, sometimes I have thoughts about like people made me mad and I just want to punch them. Like we all have those thoughts. So in my assessment for my daughter, one of the questions that they asked me was like, you know, does your kid interact much with other children their age? Like, do they interact like normally? And I'm like, first of all, I don't know. I told them, I'm like, I don't know what normal means to y'all, because I'm neurodivergent. My kid's dad's neurodivergent. Like, we're just weird. So, you know, how do you want me to judge normal when nobody's normal in my house or in my family that I know? And the other issue is, like, with the pandemic, because of my child's age, she's 5, so it's like there was no, like, I remember she was also, other than the pandemic, she was born 6 weeks early. So with premature babies, like, their immune system's not fully developed. So when I first had her, it was like, don't touch my kid, don't get near my kid, don't kiss my child, like, keeping her away from other people for like months at a time. And then the pandemic hits, and it's like, no, there's not kids just playing together. It's like, it's a whole different world. So the assessment process has been very interesting. But some of the things that my child has gone through with school, like, they said her language skills are advanced. Like, she's at the top, like, advanced for her comprehension of language and the words that she uses, which doesn't surprise me, because that's how her dad is. Like, I've said it on here before, like, his nickname growing up was the Human Dictionary. Like, people thought that was a joke, but I've heard words come out of this man's mouth on a regular basis that I'm like, but it's interesting, because I've seen some videos about this too, about gifted and neurodivergent people, and kind of having to, like, scale back the way we talk to people, because, you know, some people think it's pretentious. Like, if you use the word pedantic with somebody, like they'll be like, oh, like, oh, big word. It's like, you must think you're so smart. And it's like, we're just trying to be specific here. Like, we have a big vocabulary. Sorry if you don't know the word and that makes you feel a certain way, but that's not the intention. So while my daughter has a very advanced vocabulary for her age, she has a little bit of a speech issue, which is not uncommon, I don't think, for people who may be on the spectrum. There can be, she's got a slight tongue tie, so there's certain physical things that can cause that, and then there's other things, like, in development of the brain, that can affect that. So she's working on that, but her other thing was the way she holds her pencil. Or a crayon or anything. And I've said this many times. I noticed this about her years ago, and her sibling, her dad's other kid from when he was married when he was young, is like 20 now. And the same thing, like, this kid, when they hold, let me see if I can grab a pencil. If they're holding a pen or a pencil or something, they're holding it like this, like, you know. And if you look online, or a fork, when this kid eats with a fork, like, they eat them like so when you look it up and read about it, there's developmental things with neurotypical children where, you know, maybe when they're little babies, like, they might hold something like this, but their grip will change over time as they get more strength. And it's not for lack of my kid having any exposure to anything, because I've always tried to be engaged with her. We play with a lot of blocks. She plays with she colors a lot. She has an easel and she can write on it and draw on it. But so it's not for a lack of being able to use her hands, but she just has weak grip strength. And this is not 100%, you know, given that if you hold your pencil weird, it means you're on the spectrum. But there's some correlation with this. So it's interesting. But when I was reading about that and learning about that with the situation with my kid in school, they're working on that. And she's been improving. We're trying not to make it, I forgot to mute my stuff. We're trying not to make it like a stressful thing. We're trying to make it as fun as we can. Like, oh, you know, try this, and not make it like a complex. But yeah, this is where I learned about muscle tone and hypermobility in people that are on the spectrum. So this happens basically simultaneously at the same time that I'm doing my recent physical therapy that I went to for 6 weeks for sciatic pain. So sciatic pain can be caused by a lot of different things. You could have a slip disc. We don't know, but with my insurance now, they want you to go through the physical therapy first before they start, you know, paying for MRIs and all of that. So I did my 6 weeks of physical therapy. I did have improvement, but it's interesting because looking up different things online about hypermobility, people on the spectrum, it's common. I'm not an expert, so I can't explain to you exactly how that works, but some of us just have different things about our body, and it doesn't mean that we're necessarily weak. There's actually a woman that I follow on social media. Her Instagram name is like Burritos and ADHD. She's a powerlifter, you know, and she works with people with hypermobility. She's on the spectrum. She experiences hypermobility. It's just that, like, sometimes certain things in our body are a little more, they move around a little more than other people's. So you may know people like this that have issues where, like, I remember somebody that I knew that, like, their knee, they were like, when I was a kid, my knee would pop out all the time. And you're like, that's not really normal. You know, it's not the average experience of most people. So this is why I had posted like a month or so ago too, researching hypermobility and Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And there's a huge connection with that there. So I've had my genes done through different sites, so I know I don't have like the major markers for the types that you can find genetically of Ehlers-Danlos, but there is hereditary Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is the most common type, and it doesn't have a specific genetic marker associated with it. So when I watched the video about that I posted a while ago, I was like, oh wow, like these associated conditions that I have, and as I talked in my previous health videos, these associated conditions that I have been dealing with for the last 20 years, like wow, there's like 20 of these things that I am diagnosed with or suffer with, and I'm like, why has no one brought this up? But from my understanding, there's not a lot of Ehlers-Danlos specific, you know, physicians in the area knowledgeable. It's kind of, it's weird how it can be so common, but it's just not, I don't think, specific enough. Like, the medical industry wants to be like, we're dealing with the brain, we're dealing with the nervous system, we're dealing with the skeletal system. Like, Ehlers-Danlos is so all over the body that it's not something that everyone's looking for. So it's gonna be a journey, and maybe I don't have it, but like, man, do I have a lot of the associated conditions with the hypermobility. And I could just not go pursue that, seeing if that's an issue, but there are some benefits to it down the line. There's you can participate in research for stuff, you can get some disability benefits if you need them. It's really important in some regards to like things like anesthesia and pain management, which I don't know if I've talked about it on here. I have right now 13 gold crowns. Y'all aren't going to be able to see much on this one, but I'll get up here where the ring light is. So all these back teeth, this front one, these are all gold crowns. They're not, these ain't grills. This is my real like teeth. And yeah, I've had a lot of issues over time, but getting dental work done is not fun. And other people in my family have had similar issues too. And this is where, like, even though there's not a specific genetic marker for hereditary Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, it can run in a family. So every time I go and I get my teeth worked on, it's so frustrating because they have to give me like extra shots in my mouth. And I've literally, I can talk more about medical stuff again in another video down the line, I've had trauma over this. Who doesn't when you get your teeth worked on? Your anesthesia wears off, your pain management, or it's not enough. And then you have a dentist that's just like, I'm almost done, like, and it's like no, like, I'm in pain, stop. So I still have more work to do. You guys probably saw right now I have one tooth that got pulled on this side. It had a crown and it got decay under the crown as well as I took care of it. So now I have to get that fixed. Like, it's a whole thing. So pain management is important. Then if you have to get a surgery, your healing might be different if you have EDS. So I'm tired. I'm tired of going to doctors, but you know, whatever I can manage with the best of the information I have, I'm going to do. So one of the associated symptoms, to bring my conversation back around to the beginning here, is I also, as I probably mentioned before, I was diagnosed after I had my daughter with interstitial cystitis. So it's like autoimmune condition that's affecting the bladder. And sometimes it's fine. Sometimes I have no problem with it for a while, and then something will flare it up. Stress is a big one. Adult activities sometimes, but it really depends. And my cycle, like getting, you know, my period is one that aggravates it too. But in one of my EDS, or not in my EDS, in one of my IC groups, we were talking about foods that they say can flare it up, and coffee has always been a huge trigger for me. And apparently, if you drink cold brew coffee, because the acidity is different, it doesn't affect you the same way. So it's interesting. I changed my schedule recently at work. I got into a new position, so this is another reason I haven't been on here. I've changed my schedule like 3 times in the last 6 months. I was doing evening shifts, then I went to mid shifts, and then now I'm on an overnight shift, which is a whole new thing for me. But as I've mentioned before, like, I have a photosensitivity disorder. I can't go out in the sun. So circadian rhythm, what? Like, I just take, if I really need to try to sleep, I'll take some melatonin, or, you know, occasionally I might have some CBD, not very often, but I just sleep whenever. Like, I have a child. I've been through having like a little baby that just sleeps on a weird schedule. You just, as a parent, you just learn to sleep whenever you sleep. So I'm doing the overnight thing and starting to get my rhythm with that. But yeah, being sick, doing 6 weeks of physical therapy, having my kid evaluated, it's been a lot. So I do drink cold brew coffee. Let me get one out of the fridge and I'll show you guys what I drink. And I will tell you, like, when I used to drink regular coffee that wasn't cold brew, man, would it mess my system up. Like my bladder, I've had stuff with my kidney. I usually can't drink that type of coffee more than like 1 day in a row, or I'm gonna be in pain. But the cold brew, this is the Califia. If y'all don't know, because I work in category management with brands, Califia. They made a whole video. It's pronounced Califia. I know it looks like Califia or something. That's not how you pronounce it. But this is a cold brew coffee. This is the blonde roast. I used to have a roommate when I lived in Chicago that worked for Starbucks, which was really fun because we got coffee all the time, like bags and bags of every type of coffee you could want to try. So I learned a lot about coffee because normally I'm a dark roast everything. Like when I did drink alcohol, I like red wine, I like whiskey, and I used to like my coffee dark. But I actually learned over time, trying different types of coffee, that I like lighter, medium to lighter roasts. So if they made a cold brew, my favorite beans actually come from Guatemala. Usually there's something about the soil there, it's real smooth. But this is a blonde roast, and a blonde roast actually is not roasted as hard as a dark roast, like a French, or an espresso is really dark. But a lot of people don't realize this. A dark roast has less caffeine in it. A light roast is going to have more caffeine. This type of caffeine doesn't really make me sick, but if I don't even think I could drink like a major soda with caffeine in it anymore. I'd probably make me so ill. I'm super sensitive to that. So this is what I drink. on my overnights usually. I don't normally drink that much coffee, but Yerba Mate. Yerba Mate. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this right now because I know I'll say it wrong on camera. But I learned about this years ago. I posted some videos about it. Andrew Huberman has made some videos about it. It definitely has some effect on your neurotransmitters. I've tried to stop drinking it before or cut it down. I don't want to. I like it. I like the way I feel when I drink Yerba Mate. I tell people this is brain buzz, this is body buzz. Like, what do you, sometimes you want both. Sometimes you do both at the same time. But this one right here is my favorite. It's out of this brand, it's carbonated, and it's low sugar. So for the whole can, it's got 10 grams of sugar. That's still kind of a lot of sugar for me. I don't normally, if I'm not drinking this, I'm drinking like Waterloo, which has no sugar in it. So this one has agave syrup in it, and it's got some stevia leaf. I know some people don't like stevia and some people are allergic to it. Most people aren't. Stevia is a plant. It's just an extract of the plant. In this, I don't taste it real strong. There's some other drinks that I've had, like Guru energy drink, which that one I can drink. It's got, it's got, sometimes they put Yerba Mate in it, but it's got another type of caffeine that I'm not pulling it right now. The stevia though, and the Gurus is like, oh, it's really strong. It's too much for me. So this is my favorite drink every day. Gotta have it. There are some studies too, and Huberman has brought this up, that some of the smoked Yerba Mates, there's some studies that show that there might be possible carcinogenic effects of that, but anything is like that. If you're eating red meat and you're grilling your red meat and you're getting all those nice black lines on there, you're eating carcinogens. Like, so if you can get a Yerba Mate that's not using that like really smoked roasted process, that's gonna be ideal. If you have it every once in a while, it's probably, like I said, if y'all are eating meat, it's not any worse than the meat that you're eating, but the unroasted is preferable. I'm gonna put my coffee away. All right, so I don't think I'm gonna eat in front of on camera in front of y'all because that's weird. The other thing though that I'm really excited that we just got where I work recently, I've had it from other stores, but we just started carrying it, is the Louisville vegan jerky. So these companies are not sponsoring me. If they ever wanted to, sure, go off. I'd love to eat your vegan meat for free. This one right here, this purple one, is the General Tso's. My kid liked this. My vegan child loves to eat this jerky. It's kind of sweet and like it's got that tamari soy sauce kind of flavor. It's gluten-free too, because y'all know I've been gluten-free for 20 years. My favorite is, sorry, I'm dropping stuff. My favorite is this, the smoked black pepper one that they have. My kid's not a huge fan of this because she's like, it's spicy, but she's starting to eat spicier stuff again. And then this one's kind of newer. They have this like bacon bits topping. I don't eat a lot of bacon bit type of product, but I made a pizza last night. And when I was a meat eater, my favorite pizza was mushroom and bacon. Some greasy, funky pizza. So I made a vegan, gluten-free, bacon and mushroom pizza last night, and it was pretty good. I would definitely do that again. So, okay, so neurodivergence, hypermobility, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, possibly. My kid being wilding out, like, I know this happens with a lot of kids, but this morning we were getting ready to leave for school, and she couldn't find like her current favorite like soft plushy stuffed animal, and it was like a meltdown for her. And I'm, as a neurodivergent parent, try to be understanding that like this is really important to her. You know, she's melting down, she's having a hard time. It is frustrating though when you're trying to get out the door. So we're working on that. Like, that's a work in progress, like talking my kid through the process of like, where was the last time you had it? You had it last night when, you know, we were doing this, and like, then what do you think the last place was? So let's look here and let's look there, and you know, eventually we finally found it, thank goodness, because yeah, that her whole day would have just been like, can't do it. She would have managed, but it would have been a rough day for her. So I'm not gonna be that parent either that like forces my child to give up things before they're ready. Like, she goes to school, she puts a stuffed animal in her backpack, she's allowed to have it at like recess time. She's not supposed to pull it out at class, and she understands that. But whatever she needs to regulate, like, this is the process that I'm on right now. I just had my birthday a few weeks ago. That was interesting. I didn't make a post on these accounts about it. I made a post on my private, like, family accounts, but I took kind of like a wild step. And I've been thinking about this for a while, and it just was a lot of events that kind of led up to it. But I just decided to take all my family off of my public social media pages that I'm doing. And the reason is, like, you know, I'm working through my CPTSD in therapy. I'm working on unmasking as a neurodivergent person. And my family's got a lot of, I want to say, like, cycles and habits and like a family system that doesn't always work for me. You know, like, my social media pages, these public ones, have become like my safe space. And I saw someone post the other day, I think it was Neurodivergent Rebel, I hope that's the right name, that they posted that, you know, about people coming on their page and making nasty comments or starting stuff with them. I feel the same way about this. Like, my social media page, this is my space. This is my home. Like, if this were my physical home and you came to my home and insulted me or had something nasty to say, I would ask you to leave. Like, I would, there's the door, please don't come back. And not to say that my family has made any nasty comments, but it's hard to separate yourself from an established kind of like not really healthy family system without boundaries, and then to have a page where you're trying to live authentically is rough. And I talked to some people in my family about this to explain. I told them that this is what I was doing. I'm taking everybody off of this page. It's not personal to one specific person. But it's hard when you're working through all that stuff. First of all, that saying about you can't heal in the same environment that you were damaged or hurt in, like, having, at this point for me, having all my family members and my stuff is not, it's not good for me mentally. It's triggering for me, it's triggering for them. It's a lot of stress. They don't understand some of it. So coming to terms with the fact that I'm more, I don't know, I've always known I'm neurodivergent. That's no surprise. It's not like I just got diagnosed. Like, I was diagnosed gifted very, very young. So I knew I was different, but I was never explained what that meant. So with the way my family is, we were very much raised on that. You know, like, my great-grandmother used to have this saying when she'd put the kids to bed at night. Like, my dad, she'd say, happy face in the morning. That's cute. That's real cute, and that's real positive. But the problem is, in my family, if you wake up in the morning, and I am not a morning person, except for now that I'm on overnights. If you want to be a morning person and you've never been a morning person, just don't go to sleep. You'll be real bright and cheery in the morning. It's the easiest thing ever. But yeah, like, normally I have cognitively a difficult time in the morning. It takes me a while to get going. And that expectation that I should be bright and cheery and chipper, and like, that is just not me. And that would be fine if you grew up in a family where people left you alone. But I feel like the message I got was like, get rid of your attitude. And I had this conversation with my therapist today where I was like talking about being neurodivergent and the expectations that people put on us for social behavior. And I have a very, very specific instance that I remember. I was probably about 10-ish years old, going and getting a haircut with my sister. And I liked it. I liked the haircut. I got the haircut I wanted. It looked nice. I was happy with it. But the hairdresser looked at my dad, this is in front of me, specifically says to my dad, she doesn't seem like she's very happy with it. And my dad said, well, if she's smiling, she's happy, which even when I smile, this is weird because I've been doing stuff lately, like, you know, on social media, I'm like, I don't really have that many pictures where I'm smiling. And my thing is like, I don't feel like I should have to fake a smile. I feel like it looks so weird and inauthentic. And like, so even when I am happy and I smile, it's not really like always the way other people are. And other people that I follow who are neurodivergent have said the same thing. It's just like, this is my face. Like, I'm happy right now. I'm happy, you know, like I'm satisfied. And this expectation that we should fit this, like, you know, neurotypical narrative about how we should behave it's draining. So the whole unmasking process, it's tiring. It's nice for me, and I've realized this about my work lately and other people I work with. We have a lot of neurodiverse people, that it's like for us, especially with me I'm in a supervisory role, I like to talk to people like they're human beings. Like, I don't talk to them like I'm your parent, I'm your drill sergeant. Like, we're working as a team. I'm here to help to facilitate getting the needs of the team done. And I'm here to take your feedback about it. I'm not here to dictate to you how you must do things. So it's a very safe environment. It's like people are very open to be weird, especially on overnight. There's no customers. So as long as we all are in agreement that we're okay with the behavior that's going on and it's not hurting, you know, us or our performance, we get real weird, which is great. So work can become a safe space in that way. And I noticed this because I'm getting more free time now that I'm getting caught up now. And I'm like, what do I do with myself? Like, my kid's getting older. I have days where I do have free time and I'm like, where do I go out and what do I do? Like, I had a realization in the last few weeks that almost every experience I've had where I've gotten into some social group or some activity or gone somewhere new in my life, someone almost always took me there. Like when I was 17, and that whole story I have about going to the goth club and like looking around and being like, wow, these people, like I get this, like these are my people. Someone had to take me there, because otherwise I'm not the kind of person to go into a big social situation like that, because it's very overwhelming for me. It's overstimulating. There's too many sights, there's too many sounds, there's too many smells, there's too much going on, and I kind of like shut down. I get very quiet. And I've been accused of being pretentious for that. That's not what it is. It's just, I'm trying to take it all in. But now I'm a 41-year-old adult that only goes to like 5 places. Like, work is my safe space, home is my safe space. I like to go to the same 3 grocery stores all the time to shop. Like, I deal with it and I understand because I've done retail, but when they move stuff around, it's aggravating. It is. It's a little disorientating, and I know why they do it, so I'm understanding of it. But I don't like change. I don't like new things. So I don't know what the answer is here of like how I'm gonna get myself to go out and do stuff without needing another person to take me, or maybe I just need to ask somebody to go somewhere with me in order to go do something. Sorry. My pug is snoring right now really, really loud. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but she's sawing wood over there. Getting distracted. So, yeah, like, unmasking is a process, and feeling those authentic feelings and being able to express that, especially when you come from a family where that was not, you weren't taught to express yourself, or even you were like sent to your room for having a feeling, you know, you were, you know, discouraged from having feelings or expressing yourself the way you wanted. It's a lot. Like, there's your body is like, don't do this, don't express this. Like, you're gonna make somebody upset. People are gonna be uncomfortable. But like, this is one thing I've learned in therapy. Like, my feelings are my feelings. They're not necessarily good or bad. People have sad days. People have tired days. People, get angry. These are all normal feelings. What you do with them is your choice, and sometimes you just have to feel it and walk through it. But I've found that expressing myself more in a different way on my pages is not always taken well by family. And their feelings about it, yeah, they're valid, but they're their feelings over there. Like that's their stuff to work through. So I just was like, I'm gonna set a boundary with y'all, and I want my own space right now. So that's a few things that have gone through my head recently in regards to this. Like, I got, with the car today, I gotta get the car fixed. The guys at this shop I went to are really nice today, and it was the second time I've been there, so that was helpful. But like going anywhere new to get anything done is like, I have to social. I don't want to social. It is so like, I have to put on that like, all right, we're gonna put on my customer service voice and my persona. And, okay, I don't want to talk. I don't know. Like it makes my head hurt. So it's, I think maybe like there's a degree of having to desensitize yourself to that, but there's also like, I'm 41 years old and this is part of who I am. You got to give yourself wiggle room. What do you accept about yourself and what do you challenge yourself on? And some of that has to do with how much energy you have at the time. So life is in a transition period for me. And I did mention it on my Facebook. It's been a couple, I don't know, a while now. But my previous partner that I was seeing, we split. And it's amicable. We're still friends. Like, this is something I've learned about dating and learned through therapy and stuff. People just have different personalities sometimes, and sometimes it just doesn't mesh. Like, that is what it is. So that frees up time too, because we're not like, I'm not having to organize all of this long distance relationship stuff with somebody. Yeah. Everything in my life right now is about that mission of like finding that authenticity, but I've heard other neurodivergent people say like this, like people with autism, for example, like autistic burnout, like I would even say like neurodivergent burnout. When you start living as yourself again, there's a lot to unpack, first of all, and then the more comfortable you get with being your authentic self and being that weird person and not having to mask, for me, the more annoying it's gotten to have to mask. Like, I dread it now. Like, oh, I have to go to a doctor's appointment, or I have to go somewhere where people are going to talk to me, and like, I don't want to talk to y'all. I just want to do what I got to get done, like, because it's a mental drain. I'm not saying that it's an excuse to not do anything. I'm just saying it is what it is. So you got to get to know yourself. You got to know what your boundaries are. Speaking your boundaries sometimes feels very uncomfortable. Having conversations with people in the last few weeks about, I need you to be over here and I'm going to be over here, is like, it's hard because no one wants to hurt anyone's feelings, but we all need our own space. Yeah. I'll probably do a part 2 of this and talk more about masking. Maybe I'll write some notes down somewhere so I can be a little more focused. But today was just kind of like, I've already been on the phone teleconferencing since my phone doesn't work, or since my car doesn't. It works, but right now I'm not going to drive it over 40 miles an hour. It's a little unnerving. So hopefully within a week or 2 I get the car thing sorted out, which actually my mechanic's calling me right now. So y'all have a great day because I have to answer this call.